If you've done any of those three things, you have been using other people's money. This is why banks are so rich and make so much money, because I don't want to go up to someone and have to ask them for money. And in fact, if you don't tell them about your property investing, if you don't tell them how you can help them make money, I actually think you're being a bit selfish. So if you get good at just one of those things, you can help people who've got the other resource that they're lacking. So in other words, a lack of money or perceived lack of money is what stops most people moving forward with great property investing deals. Hello and welcome to this episode of the Property Magic Podcast, in which I'm going to talk about why would someone lend you money? Now, this is a common thought that many people who want to invest in property have when they hear about the idea of using someone else's money. They think, well, why on earth would someone lend money to me? And I completely understand that, but I want to change the way you look at this. I want to change your belief, because the reality is most successful investors, they might have used some of their own money, but they generally run out of their own cash and they have to use other people's money. And it might be the case that you have already used someone else's money. You might think, no, I haven't. Well, let me explain about that. So, have you ever taken out an overdraft? Have you ever used a credit card? Have you ever got a mortgage? If you've done any of those three things, you have been using other people's money. You say, well, no, that doesn't count. That's the bank's money. Well, let's talk about this for a minute. So, you can go to a bank, if you find a good property and the numbers work, you can go and borrow up to 75% of the value of that property to buy that property. And the banks normally want you to put 25% of your own money into the deal. We'll come to that in a moment. And that's where a lot of people get stuck, because they think, well, I might have enough money for one deposit, but then I'm going to get stuck, or I didn't even have enough money for the first one. But let me help with that in a minute. But the bank will lend you that money. Now, where does the bank get that money from? The bank gets the money from their savers. Normal people like you and me who put money in the bank, and they pay maybe a couple of percent to those people, and they lend the money out at a much higher rate. This is why banks are so rich and make so much money, because they borrow at a low rate and then lend it out at a higher rate. So in fact, indirectly, you have already been using other people's money if you've had a mortgage, if you've had an overdraft, or even if you've had a credit card. So you already probably have used someone else's cash. The big problem that most people have in their mind is, well, I don't want to go up to someone and have to ask them for money. What will they think about me? What will they say? None of us like to be rejected. We like people to like us and say yes to us. And if most people, you ask them for money, they can say, no, I haven't got any money, or no, I'm not going to give you money. So I want to change the way you think about this. I want to demonstrate the power of coaching. And a coach can help you take your current thinking to a new level and see things in a different way and help you with your blind spots. So let me give you an example. Right now, you might be thinking, well, if I go and ask someone for money, it's going to feel a bit like I've got a begging bowl and I'm asking for people to give me money. And no one likes the idea. In fact, think about that for a minute. Imagine you've got your hands in front of you and they're empty, and you go to family member, friend, work colleague, and say, can I have some money, please? Imagine how would that feel? Think about the emotions that are coming up for you. Probably not a great feeling. You might think embarrassed, ashamed, coming from a place of lack. It's not a very good feeling, right? That's why most people don't like the idea of asking someone else for money. However, what if instead of going to someone with an empty hand, imagine you've got your hands in front of you cupped full of gold coins. Not Cadbury's chocolate gold coins. I'm talking about real gold coins. And these gold coins represent the profit that you can make from your property investing, the cash flow and the equity growth. And instead of saying to someone, hey, can I have some money, please, which doesn't feel great, imagine you're going to people and saying, who do you know who might want to share some of my profit? Now, there's two really important things there. First of all, you've not asked the individual if they want to give you money. You said, who do you know who? And secondly, you've not asked for money. You've said, I'd like to share some of my profit. That is a totally different positioning, although fundamentally it's still the same thing. You're saying, look, who wants to come and invest with me. So it's all about the positioning. And if you're saying, look, I've got these great projects, they're making all this money, I haven't got enough of my own money to do them all, which is being completely honest, I like to share some of the profit with someone else. Now, there are a number of different ways you can do that. Someone might lend money to you on a private loan, or they might go into business on a joint venture. You have to be very careful who you joint venture with because you're going into business and, there's a share of risk and a share of reward. So I like to start with private loans for people first of all. But the whole point is that you don't have to just use your resources because you will run out of your own cash at some point. You might already be there having run out of cash. But recognize that the way you approach people and you're giving them the opportunity to make money with you. And most people want to make money, right? So actually, if you're giving them an opportunity, they can choose if they're interested or not. Now, another huge mistake people make when they're thinking about using other people's money is that they make all sorts of assumptions and judgments about other people. They look at someone and think, well, I don't think they're going to have any money. But the thing is, you just don't know. There might be someone you've known all your life and they've never had any money, and then maybe one of their parents passes away, or an uncle or not, and they're left some money. And because they've never had money all their life, they just don't know what to do with that money. And most of us, we don't talk about what we've got. It's not seen as etiquette. It's a bit uncouth to talk about what you have. So you might have people in your immediate circle who've never had money, but suddenly they've got some cash and they've got a real problem because it's sitting in the bank doing nothing for them, and yet you can help them. And in fact, if you don't tell them about your property investing, if you don't tell them how you can help them make money, I actually think you're being a bit selfish. You're stealing the opportunity of them making money because you're not even telling them about the opportunity because you made a judgment about if they have money or not. And even if someone does have money, you might make a judgment saying, I know they've got money, but I don't think they'd want to lend to me. And of course, they might not want to give you money if you wanted to spend the money on a holiday or go and buy a car or something, but you're investing in property. Most people understand that property is one of the very best investments you can make. That's why banks are prepared to lend you money to invest in property, because they know it's such a safe bet. It's safe as houses, as you might say. So buying property is not a foolish thing. Buying property is a very good thing to do as long as you know what you're doing. Now, this is another problem people have. They say, well, I'm new to property. I don't have any track record. Why would someone lend to me? What you need to understand is when someone lends you money, they're lending it to you because they like you and they trust you and they believe you that you're going to give them a great return and also give the money back to them. And it's very important you make sure you do get the money back to them. So it's important that you know what you're doing. And this is why educating yourself and learning how to find really good property deals is so important, because there are deals everywhere. And in fact, there's money everywhere. But most people don't know how to find deals, and most people don't know how to find money. So if you get good at just one of those things, you can help people who've got the other resource that they're lacking. So in other words, if you're finding really good property deals, there are people out there who have money, but they don't have the time, the energy, or inclination to go and find deals themselves. Whereas if you're finding those great deals, and especially if they're a more experienced person, of course they're going to want to see the deal, they want to check it, make sure it's a good deal. But it might well be that this is your very first deal. And the people you're borrowing from could be family members, friends, work colleagues. And guess what? They also don't know much about property. But the very fact you've been educating yourself and learning how to do this properly, they should look at you as the person who's got the knowledge and the experience. That's why you found these great deals. You just don't have enough cash to do all the deals yourself. That's why you're sharing the opportunity with people you care about so they can also make some money from your hard work. So again, it comes about thinking about this in a different way and positioning it, because there's so much money out there, so much money available. You just need to get good at finding those deals. And even if you have some money, I know a lot of people say, well, I'm going to use my money at first, get a few deals under my belt, get some track record, then it's going to be easier to raise money. And I would agree with that. It's definitely easier to raise money if you have a track record, but we've had a lot of students who on their very first deal have borrowed some or all of the money to do that deal. And it's because they built great relationships. They know that the people who've got the money like and trust the borrowers. They know they're going to get the money back, and a lot of it comes down to confidence as well. Now, I'm actually doing some training because this is such an important thing for you to understand. A lack of money or perceived lack of money is what stops most people moving forward with great property investing deals. And I know for a fact, some of our students have shared with me, they said, Simon, I know I can go and find money, but because I don't have it right now, I'm kind of reluctant to go and find great deals, because if I find a great deal, I know I can't move forward. And so it's a catch-22, because some people, they don't go and find the deals because they know they can't fund them, but they don't find the deals, they're not going to have deals that will be funded by other people. My recommendation is start looking for deals, but also at the same time, start looking for lenders. And ideally get potential lenders, private lenders lined up even before you find the deals. So when you've got the deals, you can move quickly and acquire those properties. Another thing you can do is use a strategy such as rent to rent, or purchase lease option, where you're not actually buying property, you're taking property on, you're managing it, you're making cash flow every single month from it. And that's a way of demonstrating you have some knowledge, you have some skill, you have some expertise. And I'll be really open with your friends and family, say, look, I don't own these properties. I'm making money from them, but I don't own them. My next level is start to buying property, but I run out my own cash. So I'm looking for people who want to share some of my profit. I've demonstrated, I know what I'm doing already. I'm looking for people who want to work with me. And you would be amazed at how many people you know who actually have money in their accounts, in their bank account, you just don't know about it. But when you start telling people what you're doing and raising your profile and posting on social media that you're going to networking meetings and you're doing training events, you're listening to webinars, you're out looking for property. In the UK, generally as a nation, we're very interested in property investing. But most people don't do it because they don't know what to do, they don't know how to do it, or they don't think they've got enough money. But the message on this podcast, hopefully loud and clear, is when you learn how to find good deals, you don't need to use your own money. There are plenty of other people out there who will fund those deals for you. So yes, people will lend money to you if they can see that you can make the money and they know they're going to get the money back. I do hope this has been a useful episode of the Property Magic podcast. I'm doing some online training all about how you can use other people to build your cash generating property portfolio. Look for the link below this video or in the podcast description. Click on the link and come and register for that live training with me. As ever, I encourage you to invest with knowledge, invest with skill. If you're watching the YouTube video, please hit the like button, share a comment about your beliefs about raising money. I'll answer as many as I can. Subscribe to the YouTube channel and hit the bell icon to make sure anytime I bring out a new video, you're notified about that.